Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman. We only have special guests, even in 2021. We've spoken to Dan before. Let's listen to more of what he's doing, inspiring others with his great message. Now we talk business. It's the same in business. You have to show up. You want to perform the best work. How did you get into business? You mentioned a little bit like journalism. How can you transfer your knowledge from the wrestling into the business and what you're doing now?
When I was wrestling, I had newspaper columns, and I studied some journalism before I got into wrestling. I had newspaper columns. What I did was, when I finished wrestling, I went to journalism, and I've had some great journalism gigs. I, again, was CNN out of Mexico. I was a columnist of the paper. The other paper, the competition actually stole me away from the first paper. Then I was in New York City working with the Billboard group. Out of New York, I covered Woodstock. I won writing awards with Billboard. And to translate that to today, I think that newsletters, I tried to actually buy a chain of weekly newspapers and didn't come together. And I thought, well, why don't I just start online publications? And that's what I've done. So we've got 2 city publications with 2 more in the works. And I've also got a wellness newsletter pertaining to my wellness, because along the way, I discovered I had type 2 diabetes. And I've gone on a whole crusade against diabetes and trying to beat my diabetes. So I've translated that into a wellness newsletter and podcast.
Tell us more about that. I mean, that has been your quest for 2020. I mean, before that, 2020 COVID then. Tell us, how did that look like? Congratulations, first of all, right?
Thank you. So what happened was COVID hit. I decided that I wasn't going to give the year up to COVID. I decided to do something positive and make a role model. Now, I have a lot of followers online. One of my give backs is to diabetics. And I get a lot of people reaching out to me about their diabetes, and some people have completely given up. They're off insulin, they're off everything, and they're telling me I've given up. And I've talked them back into taking it, and they can win. And I'm trying to walk them through how to win. I've had other people lose body parts from diabetes. I had my old tag team partner Kamala, he passed away this year. We were tag team partners in Mexico. He was with the WWF. He wrestled Hulk Hogan. He wrestled in WrestleMania. He's a massive star. I lost both his legs to diabetes, passed away. And I just had another friend of mine, a referee, same thing. He had diabetes, had to get his leg amputated, got COVID on top of it. And he ended up passing away as well. Actually, they took both his legs before he passed away. What I decided to do in May was just attack my health and just biohack myself. From May till the end of December, a couple of days ago, I've lost 82 pounds. I have almost beaten diabetes. I've gone 3 days, I think, couple spurts at a time recently where I don't have to take any insulin. My blood sugar readings are normal. I will have diabetes defeated, I would say, for sure by the summer, and probably a lot sooner than that. But I just put my head down and I ran it like I'm back in a training camp, and with the same dedication it took to become a professional athlete, I've dedicated to diabetes. And I'm trying to bring as many people along with me on this journey as I possibly can. I've got a few thousand followers on Instagram and on Facebook, and I just post a lot of stuff. What I'm doing, like I said, I'm biohacking myself. Decided to got to cut out carbs, got to cut out sugars, exercise, and drink a lot of water. I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I'm watching everything, and I'm really watching the results, and I'm really finding out new things about my body. Obviously, my body's a lot different today than it was when I was in my 20s and 30s. And so I measure everything. I measure my body. I measure my results. My doctor's a team doctor with the Los Angeles Kings. He's great. So I do this in conjunction with him. And I'm fascinated by it. And I'm reading a lot of books on different health situations. Dr. Jason Fung, who wrote the obesity code, the diabetes code, and the cancer code. Just amazing stuff. Dave Asprey, who created Bulletproof Coffee, things that he's done biohacking himself. He wants to live to be 180. I'm not so sure with my past lifestyle that I'll make 180.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people that have been around me from my wrestling days, and unfortunately, a lot of the wrestlers die young. And the lifespan isn't so great. And I can count just countless people who have passed away that I've been friends with. And it's really sad. And I'm really, really thankful that I'm upright and walking. But I think a lot of it is just how I've treated myself after I've finished wrestling and stayed focused on myself to a degree. And then this year, I've just 10x'd it and supersized it and gone right at it, right in its face. So it's really working. And a number of my employees right now have done the same thing. They've seen what's happened with me and they've become inspired and they're looking at their own health. And not just my employees. I deal with a lot of bankers and things like that. And some of my bankers, some people from our regional teams in my company are doing the same thing. Some pretty interesting stuff happening with health right now.
Amazing. And what do you do? Can you share that with the audience here? And I know we want to hear, what is your Instagram handle so the listeners can follow you?
The best one for health is, I've got a couple of different ones, but the best one for health is Diabetes Army. It's at Facebook and at Instagram, it's Diabetes Army. And I post a lot of my food. I try to keep my carbs to a net carb count of about 10 or less. So for the day, 20 net carbs. So however I want to chop up the 20 net carbs is how I chop it up. So it's been good. I've been intermittent fasting. I'll go from dinner on Sunday till lunchtime on Tuesday, and I'll just drink bone broth. I use Kettle and Fire. I'm not sponsored by them, but they just make really good bone broth. And then I'll do that again. I'll have lunch on Tuesday, dinner on Tuesday, then I'll go Wednesday till lunch Thursday, same thing. And then I have dinner and lunch Friday, dinner and lunch Saturday, and the same on Sunday. I generally skip breakfast and I just have a drink, like an electrolyte drink in the morning. I have coffee and I put actually some MCT oil Bulletproof in my coffee. I check my ketones to make sure my ketone level is up. And I check my glucose, and I check my glucose 2-3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day on the days I fast, even 5. I just want to see where I'm at again. I just keep biohacking myself. And it's working out really well. And this has been the secret to weight loss. I'm doing yoga at home, DDP yoga. DDP stands for Diamond Dallas Page, an ex-pro wrestler who's got an amazing yoga program that you can start if you're heavy as heavy can be, doing it in your bed, for example, all the way up to standing on your head for an hour and change with all the poses and everything else. So I do one that's a standing one because I'm very cautious about my knees right now, but that'll probably change to continue to drop weight. I burn about 450 to 510 calories in 30 minutes, very intense. I have a great workout. I wear a heart monitor. It tells me when I'm in the zone. Not in the zone and things like that, my percentages at the end of the workout. So I'm even tracking that. And the other thing I do, which is really super important, is I meditate for 3 minutes in the morning and I meditate for 10 minutes at night. And that's as long as I can keep my brain steady where it's not going 100 miles an hour. But I'm going to tell you, what I do is I wear I've got an Apple Watch, and I wear my Apple Watch and I put on my heartbeat monitor on my Apple Watch, and I watch and see. And it's just amazing how my heartbeat drops while I'm doing my meditation. And it's really amazing. It's part of clearing your brain. I really got into that about a year ago. I'm a big fan of Pete Carroll, who coached USC, the Trojans football team. And now he coaches Seattle. And he combined with a guy from USC, and they do the Seahawks as far as getting players in the moment ready for the game. Actually, a lot of the pro athletes are now doing this. And it was so successful that they've gone out and they've started a company that do business executives. And you think about guys like I just saw Shark Tank the other day, and the guy's name escapes me, but the guy who created Tom's and runs Tom's was talking about he does a half hour of meditation at night. It just goes on and on of business leaders who are doing the same thing. And once I started doing it, it's just amazing the difference it makes as far as clarity, as far as being able to handle what's flying at you through the day. And to start your day, just to clear your head, get yourself set to go out, tackle the world. I tackle my business deals now the same way I did it when I was a pro athlete. When I was a professional athlete, I had the best around me, the best equipment, the best trainers, everything to keep me in the game. And I had the best medical people. Everybody that kept me going forward is what I surrounded myself with, the best teams. And I do that now in my business life, the same thing. I use Headspace as the app I use for meditation. Actually, I learned meditation on my Oculus by accident, trying to find a video game. And I found this meditation, taught me how to meditate. And Oculus is so badass. It's virtual reality. It puts you on the edge of the beach in Hawaii or in a bamboo forest in China. And it's mind blowing. So I learned it on Oculus. And now I have the Headspace app, and that's what I use is Headspace. But the difference that really makes in staying focused, staying in the game, being ready, what I do for a living, it's very stressful. My days go at 100 miles an hour, and it just helps me stay focused. It helps me categorize things. And I really trained my mind a lot in the last year. So it's been great.
I can tell I've known you for many years now. And I know your brain goes like 100 miles, if not more, an hour. Listening to you and saying that you are meditating, the listeners should listen up. The meditation is like calming down your nervous system. And that's what's necessary these days when you're in such a stressful situation.
And not only that, but being able to categorize things as they fly at you where you're not obsessing on it all day. I've learned so many great techniques with this. It's like, okay, you just compartmentalize it, move on, and you can go back and revisit it. But right now, I've got 4 things flying at me. I'm going to compartmentalize all these things, and I'm going to figure out which is the priority and go. On my business side, I'm starting a leadership program with my management team, with my senior management team. I'm going to tear down what they've learned in the past, and I'm going to make them better leaders, teach them about how to build a culture, how to build themselves. I can't tell you how excited I am about this program. I've got homework assignments for them and all kinds of different things. And this is part of it. This is part of it of just getting clarity and focus and figuring out how to do that. So that's going to be a big part of my leadership program I'm rolling out to these guys and gals.
That's fantastic. Wow. I want to hear more about it. And we all know, like, if you're too stressed, you're sending that energy to the others and then others get stressed out. And so you cannot have that. So in a stressful environment, if you are the least stressed person, that sends out the best message to everybody.
I say something all the time to my management team. I've made a lot of really bad decisions in the spur of the moment in a not great mental state when something's come at me and I probably haven't responded in the best way. And I've really learned to take a minute, take a breath, sit down, hit pause, think it through, and then make the decision. I've made a really bad decision a lot of times on the spur of the moment. And that's one thing, again, with what I do that I really had to learn that, okay, let's just take everything in, let's figure it out, and then let's make a decision and run like that. And that's been huge for me.
And you don't have to make a decision all the time at the spur of the moment. It's okay to say, let's pause here. Let's assess the situation. Let me take a breath. Who says no to that? I mean, I've seen that. I've spoken to many leaders as well, and we teach them all about mindfulness. And what we all know, if your mind is full, if you go 100 miles an hour, you cannot be mindful. You cannot make a good decision. It's all about being composed and being in the moment.
Oh, absolutely. And that was the biggest thing I learned when I first started this, was being in the moment. And human beings are never happier than when they're in the moment. And they say that thinking about your past brings depression, thinking about the future brings anxiety, and being in the moments where you need to be. And this is what they're teaching professional athletes right now, being in the moment. I mean, it's just the biggest thing ever. I didn't have that when I was coming up, for sure. They just, they want you in the moment all the time. You just go 100 miles an hour right at it. Now it's a new world now. I wish this was around when I was younger.
Well, now you can learn, right? There's never too late to learn. Any other insights for 2021? I mean, like, you have taken the pandemic on, losing so much weight, being so positive. Anything else that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Also, empathy has got to be a big part of 2021. I run a large auto dealership, and I've got a lot of people with a lot of families, and their safety is paramount to me. Now, I still have to drive numbers and drive success and everything at my store, and I'm still taking people to success. However, I'm teaching my people in my store empathy, because not only do they have to have empathy for each other, but for customers, and especially for those around them. And sometimes we forget about that. You know, who's got a great video on this is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's got a video. It's about 2 minutes long. And I encourage everybody to watch this video. It's on YouTube. It's called Everybody's Got a Story. And it will grab you. I guarantee every person I tell watch this, they come back to me and they say they had tears in their eyes. It's just an amazing video. And my understanding with Chick-fil-A is that if you're from the CEO down to the person that cleans the bathroom, has to sit down and take 2 minutes and watch this video. Any new hires have to watch the video. And quite frankly, I make all of my new hires watch the video. When I go into a new store for our company, one of the first things I do is I get the entire store to watch this video. And it really teaches you empathy and just that, not making quick judgment calls on people, and to sit back and take a breath and think about what we're doing and how we can make people's days better. I often say to my managers, and it catches them completely off guard, because I run in a very high octane world. They're running in very high speeds, high octane as well, because in my world, it's all about results, and it's all about results now. But I will say to them, what can I do to make your day better? And I've never seen a sentence that makes people just stop and think for a minute. You know, they're waiting for me to say, come on, more deals, let's go. Instead, it's like, what can I do to make your day better? And they just take a breath and they look and they're like, oh, nothing, boss. I mean, but thank you. And it's really great to see. And I think if we said that more to people, giving with zero expectations and returns, another one. I did a couple of things this year with some people in my store where I taught them about giving, and we got involved with some families that were underprivileged and things like that. And I think it was a real eye-opener to them, and they really felt good about what we did. So I think giving is another thing that people need to be aware of if you can. Now, some people can't, but if you can, I think it's a wonderful thing.
I think so. And they also say if you pay forward, it comes back, right? So we don't give to receive, but if you can, as you mentioned, if you can, pay it forward and people will be very appreciative. So thank you so much. It's really great.
It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. And I wish you all the success in the world, and to everybody listening as well. I hope that you're able to grab some value out of this, and tell you the same thing. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, if you have any questions, DM me. I answer everyone back, and I don't care if it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll still be up sometimes returning DMs to people, because I think that anybody that's taken the time to reach out absolutely deserves an answer. And if there's any way I can make them better, that's what I like to do.
Thank you so much. And I know he does. Thank you, Dan, for being with us. Amazing stuff is happening. What are you taking away? Certainly a role model. He's never giving up, learn from the best, and he's determined. Take it from the Iron Woman. We have episodes every Monday, every Wednesday. Don't miss out. Subscribe on your favorite platform and leave a review. Take it from the Iron Woman is also a book. Get it on Amazon. Learn something for yourself. It's an ebook or a paperback. And coaching is available. Set your goals. Learn from the best. Learn from the best in the industry. Thank you.